Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar. My name is McKay Allen. I'm the Director of Content and Communications at Conversa, formerly known as Log My Calls. Thanks for being here today. We have a special webinar guest with us, Sam Labor, the Director of Marketing at Datanyze. We're Datanyze customers, love what they do, and I wanted to introduce you to them a little bit today. So thanks for joining us. First, a couple quick house cleaning items about who we are as Conversa, and then also the webinar, and then we'll get going. First, Conversa, we're a call optimization company. So we basically do three things for phone calls. We tell you which marketing channels are generating phone calls. That's attribution, basically like Google Analytics for the phone. Second thing we do is we analyze phone calls and tell you which ad sources and keywords not only generated the call, but we can tell you what happened on the phone call. So we run the call through voice recognition technology, and we're able to tell you precisely what occurred. So which sales skills are producing high conversion rates on calls, what your conversion rate is, whether or not your guys set appointments or booked sales or got revenue, and even a lead score for the phone call. So we can tell you which campaigns are generating high-quality lead scores for phone calls. The third thing we do is we provide automation. So we can tell you which, in addition to telling you the attribution and the analytics, we can actually automate actions out of that. So send emails based on phone calls, adjust your bidding strategy for AdWords based on phone calls, all that good stuff you can do in an automated way. We're based in Salt Lake City, and as I said, we used to be known as Log My Calls until May when we changed our name to Conversa. Two quick things in terms of today's webinar. First of all, we encourage you to ask questions. So please type in the little question bar any questions that you have for Sam during his presentation, and I'll address those to him. I'll read those to him as well. So to start out, why don't you just each jump into the question area and just type in where you're calling in from today. That'll help you know precisely where the question area is, and then help me know, and Sam and I know who's dialing in, who do we have on the call today. So I'll start out. So Conversa is based in Salt Lake City. We also have offices in Southern California, and then Sam is calling in from San Mateo. So they're based right in the heart of the tech world, right over there in the Bay Area. So thanks for being on, Sam, and we'll introduce you as well. But yeah, please type in where you're calling in from today, everybody, in the question area, so we can get a sense as to who's calling in. So we've got people from, let's see, we've got Detroit, we've got North Carolina, we've got a few people from New York City, we've got some Florida, California, all over the place. So thanks for jumping in, everybody, today. We really appreciate it. Appreciate your time. St. Louis as well. Diana just mentioned, so St. Louis, the STL. Fantastic. All right. So our webinar presenter today is Sam Labor. He is the Director of Marketing at Datanyze. I mentioned a moment ago, we are Datanyze customers. We like what they do a lot. There's a lot of value to what they do. Prior, he served as a marketing manager at another company in San Francisco, and then he actually was an online marketing lead in Boston. So he's been all over the place. He's somewhat proficient in Arabic, which I need to learn more about this. That's quite a skill, and Spanish. I don't know either one of those languages, so he's definitely better than me at that area specifically. So Sam, thanks for joining us today, man. We really appreciate it. I'm going to give you control of the screen now so you can jump into your presentation. And I'm really excited for your topic as a marketing guy, because I think this is something that every marketer needs, right? We produce all these content leads, and then we don't sell to them very well. So I'm interested to see what you say. So I just gave you control of the screen, Sam. Thanks for joining us, and we really appreciate it.
Thanks, McKay. Yeah, I appreciate that. My Arabic skills have long since faded, but I do keep it on my LinkedIn profile just in case anybody wants to connect on that front. So thanks for the intro. Like McKay said, I think a lot of people are doing a great job producing content at scale. They're really hitting on some pain points that their buyers are looking to accomplish. And from there, sometimes it's just a conversion issue. So I decided to take the topic from content download to sale. So we're focused on after someone hits submit on a landing page, and then we're going to take it all the way through to the sales opportunity, how you follow up, what you should be saying, how you should automate, and lots of good stuff like that. So let me make mine full screen here. Cool. All right. So let's get right to it. We're going to cover a few different items from when a lead comes in to the ops. So first of all, a lead comes in, now what? What are the things you want to think about? How do you map out a strategy for following up with these guys to not miss any sort of lead that comes in? Automated follow-up rubric. So, we're going to want to use marketing automation to follow up with pretty much everybody that comes in, but how do you intertwine that with the manual follow-up or a personalized outreach email from an actual inbound sales development rep? Then the what and why of lead scoring. So a key ingredient to any follow-up strategy is being able to single out the leads that are most likely to convert and working them with the most vigor. So we're going to cover how to do that. And then I looped in something about the in-betweeners here. So these are the guys that aren't quite SQLs, and they're not poor enough to scrap on the lead scoring scale. So we'll tell you how to work those, and then we'll talk through a damn good follow-up email, both the thank you email and a personalized follow-up email that would be written by your inbound SDR. And then, like I said, we'll talk about the flows, manual versus automated, and how they can kind of work together to maximize your conversion rate. Cool. Lead comes in. Now what? First thing you want to do, and I think this is pretty basic, but thank them, right? So anytime someone downloads a piece of your content, you want to queue up an automated email that thanks them instantly. And I think there are 4 ingredients to a good follow-up email. And I think you want to answer these 4 questions, right? So why am I receiving this email? How can I unsubscribe? What else can I interact with? And who is this from? So first of all, why am I receiving this email? I took this from Unbounce. I'm sure a lot of you guys are pretty familiar. This is the email that gets sent off once you participate in one of their webinars, once you download a piece of their content, any sort of inbound interaction. And I think it's really strong for a few reasons. So first off, it tells you exactly why you're receiving it, right? So in case you're running a lot of campaigns, maybe, for example, you're running a co-op program with a partner. In this case, let's say you do an ebook with a partner and they don't send you the leads over for another week. Well, the people that you're emailing, once you get that list, they may not remember downloading a piece of your content, or they just might remember the content. So it's really important to tell them, hey, I was the guy that wrote this ebook. We were the guys that put on this webinar, and that's why you're receiving this email. Second practice, how can I unsubscribe? I think this is really important. I know everybody's always trying to optimize for unsubscribes. Try to get the least amount of unsubscribes as possible. Keep your list strong. Keep it growing. But personally, I think one thing that helps people out is if someone's looking to unsubscribe, then why not make it easy for them to do so? Because they're not going to be a valuable person on your list anyway. So rather than sort of frustrate them over time with emails, just give them an easy way to unsubscribe from step 1. Lastly, what else can I interact with? So make sure you have some sort of follow-up offer based on the segment that you put them in. So if they just watched a webinar, make sure you send them to your webinar resource page. They just downloaded an ebook. Maybe send them by your blog or other ebooks that have a lot of the topics in common. And then lastly, who is this from? So I think this is really powerful, and we actually did an A/B test a couple months ago where we were using the email alias contact@datanyze.com to send all of these emails, and we were getting about a 2% click-through rate and about a 35% open rate on all of our emails. And we changed it up a little bit to make it from a combination of our co-founders, myself, and also our head of product. And we actually found that the click-through rates increased up to about 5 to 6%, and the open rates increased to about 55%. So actually sending this from a human, even if it's automated, having that email address in there can really help people interact with it, and you might get some replies that you may not have gotten had you not put in a person. So that's a quick tip on thank you email. Step 2, once someone downloads a piece of your content, you're going to want to try and sort them. So I think everybody here is pretty familiar with segmentation and email drip. These are some pretty common sorting criteria. So you've got revenue, industry, title, seniority, location, employees, and technologies. The only one that I'll mention here that could be of interest in sort of like a new creative idea is this idea of sorting by technology. And what I mean by that, and I'll get into this a little bit later, but the idea is you can learn a lot about a prospect from looking at their software stack. So what technologies they're using to power their website. So a good example is, if they're using a technology that you integrate with. So maybe you have a list of, let's say you sell services around marketing automation platforms. So you'd want to know when a lead comes in if they're using Marketo or HubSpot or Eloqua or some other technology that your company is familiar with working with or your technology integrates with. And that's actually something that Datanyze will help you do. We track about 3,000 technologies across 40 million websites on a daily basis. So we help you identify the software stack of all of your prospects, and then you're able to sort of score or segment based on those parameters. Cool. Step 3, start the drip. So this is, again, pretty common, but once you've segmented, once you've written a thank you email, you want to send that person on their way to a drip campaign. And something that's worked really well for us, we've tinkered with a lot of drip email campaigns, but we kind of took the Twitter rule for promotion, and we applied it to email. The Twitter rule basically says that, share so a segment of 6 posts. You would share posts from someone else, 4 out of those 6. You would repost something that you've already posted, and then you do some sort of self-promotional post that aims at, driving leads and getting demos. And I think that's a great way and a great sort of psychology for getting the most out of each prospect is having a campaign that is very non-promotional until you think you're ready to come with a soft or a hard sell. So the way this translates to emails is having 4 suggested content or helpful reads. This can be from your blog, it can be from other blogs, it can be from something that explains the mantra of your brand that maybe someone wrote on a larger publication, and then 1 soft sell. So in this case, I'd say you want to be promoting some sort of free trial of your product, or maybe just a way to get them a little further down the funnel. Maybe you include a case study, maybe you include an analyst report, something like that that sort of gets them in the mode that this is a product that they might want to be using. And then last but not least, the hard sell, sending off an email that has some sort of CTA around a demo request, a sign up, a subscribe, something like that. And really important in this is looking for triggers. So another great way that you can use your marketing automation system is to help you tip off certain actions. So we'll get into this a little bit with lead scoring, but the idea of bubbling up people who are clicking on emails, viewing certain pages, interacting with your content, and downloading more. You want to factor all of these behaviors into your lead scoring strategy. Great. So let's stop here. The idea of automated follow-up is pretty simple. So those 3 steps will get you 90% of the way there for the automation side of things. But I think what separates a good content strategy or a good content conversion strategy from one that isn't converting very high is knowing when to add the human touch and to whom, right? So knowing exactly which prospects are ready to convert and then reaching out with a personalized message that helps them convert or brings them the rest of the way there. And I'll kind of start over a little bit with some new steps that are going to be sort of working in tandem with your marketing automation. So step 1A, enter lead scoring. I'm sure everybody's familiar sort of with the 2-dimensional lead scoring strategy, firmographic and behavioral data. The higher the fit, the higher the engagement, the more likely it is to convert. So in this case, we're dealing with content downloads, right? So in this case, you maybe assign a score, a baseline score for each content download. And then based on the fit, you'd assign a fit score and aggregate those numbers into one central lead score. So obviously the bottom left, you've got your leads that have a low fit, low engagement. You want to scrap those leads. High fit, low engagement. Those are people that, are a great fit for your company, but maybe haven't shown all the signs that they're ready to convert, that's where you want to step in and try and nurture those leads to bubbling them up to being SQL. And then qualified, these are the guys that have a higher engagement but a lower fit. These are the ones that you want to really sort out and qualify. So try and see if they have a project, what their timing is, and things like that. Great. So this is something that we just implemented for ourselves, and something that we also implemented for at least 100, 150 customers of ours. HubSpot uses this method to score their leads on their content. But the idea is scoring your leads, again, by the software stack. So in this case, a really good idea is segmenting your leads by enterprise technologies versus startup or SMB technologies. So for example, there's a big list of technologies that are used mostly on enterprise websites. Things like Coremetrics, Akamai, larger marketing automation platforms like an Eloqua or a Pardot, any sort of like high-scale DNS that is fairly expensive. These are really great indicators that a company has budget to purchase an enterprise software, and it also gives you great insight into the workflows that they already have in place. So again, the idea of integrating your technology with a marketing automation platform, a certain CRM, even a certain e-commerce platform, this is a great way to segment and score based on the software stack. So like I mentioned, these are some sort of telltale startup versus mid-market enterprise technologies. Obviously, on the startup side, you're going to see a stack that involves maybe a MailChimp for email marketing, Google Analytics for analytics, WordPress for their CMS, maybe Magento, a nice open source e-commerce platform. And then on the right, you've got some certain sort of high-profile enterprise technologies to look out for. Again, if you're looking to have this flow, be sure to get in touch with us. We're really great at this. This is something that we excel at both on the lead scoring side and on the segmentation side. Great. Now what? So I mentioned before the idea of these two, the nurture and qualified buckets. And the nurture and qualified buckets are when you're going to need your Jeff. So in our case, our inbound sales development rep, his name is Jeff Bartlett. His goal, his whole purpose, every day he walks in, convert high-scoring leads to ops. So these are the guys that, these are the guys that are, ready to convert, but maybe just need that human touch to bring them, set up the time, and things like that. So once you've implemented lead scoring and you've got your Jeff, the first thing you want to do is set a lead scoring threshold that is going to pass some leads over to Jeff so that he can start working them. So I think in our case, what we started with, and it worked pretty well, was starting with a fairly low lead score threshold just to see how many leads we were going to get. So we started with sort of a baseline qualification. So the idea is to let them pass, right? So let a lot of leads through in the beginning, start your lead score threshold low, and then you can scale it up based on feedback that your inbound SDR gives you. And what that does is it allows you to really hone in on what criteria are most important for your lead scoring. So in our case, we started with, I think it was 3 categories. We had in a region that we could sell to. So the location was based in the United States, Western Europe, and Australia. And then we had revenue or funding over a certain threshold. And then we made sure that the email wasn't the Gmail. So again, we started our criteria really low. And then once we got a feel for, maybe we got some EDU emails in there. Maybe we realized that the revenue threshold we had wasn't high enough, and the leads that were coming through weren't as qualified as we had hoped. We can always measure that and then raise the lead scoring threshold to make sense. So start it low. And now I want to get back to the in-betweeners. So for example, you set it, let's say you set your lead source threshold low, you're getting hundreds and hundreds of leads every month. And the 2 buckets that are going to make the difference between converting more content leads and not converting them are these two yellow buckets, so nurture and qualify. Everybody's going to scrap the ones that don't matter, and everybody's going to pass over the demo requests and other SQLs that are ready to go. But the key is to how you work these leads. So I guess in the last 5-10 minutes here, I'm going to go over a brief strategy to help you convert these leads, because this is going to be the majority of your content conversion. So first thing, qualify. Remember, this is the bucket with high engagement, but you're not sure if it's a good fit yet. Maybe they're a lower score on your lead score threshold. So in this case, here's what we use Jeff for, our inbound SDR. We have him do his best to understand what sort of upcoming projects these leads might have and ask certain qualification questions, right? So if they leave a phone number, try to jump on the phone and ask them. If they don't, you can always sort of send a really personalized email over, a really personalized note over email that asks them a few of these things. So, any upcoming projects, what's your timeline? Does anybody else need to be looped in? Maybe the contact is a little bit lower and you're trying to loop in the box, or the boss. Maybe that's something that you can ask. And then what solutions are you interested in? So, knowing if you have a breadth of solutions, if someone's interested in, just one sort of smaller solution versus 3 or 4 that might really push them over the edge for qualification. And then second, nurturing. So in this case, we actually have Jeff go through the queue of lead scores that have passed the threshold, and we have them reach out with a personalized email that is in tandem with the automated follow-up. So, for example, our automated follow-up might be, suggesting pieces of content. It might be trying to interact with them and getting them to subscribe to more marketing stuff. Whereas Jeff would come in and sort of try and have some closing messaging. So try and book the meeting. Try and give this person a reason to interact with our brand further and take a demo. So the keys to this, and we've A/B tested quite a few emails on this, but the idea is to be authentic. So, again, tell them why you're reaching out and why you think they're a good lead for you. Be helpful. Tell them a quick story. We'll get into this in a little bit, and then close. So we wrote this. This is something that this is an email that we use quite a bit for our content follow-up. And I believe the reply rate was around 35 or 37%, based on about 3,000 emails. So we're using this a lot, and it's working really well. So the idea is, being authentic, reaching out from Datanyze. Don't write a subject line that is misleading. Just be really upfront about what you're looking to accomplish in the subject line. And notice how the subject line isn't capitalized. I think this is a great approach for humanizing yourself to your prospect. Generally, marketing automation emails tend to be capitalized, but when you're reaching out personally, it's okay to leave things uncapitalized. So the idea is, be helpful. So thought I'd send you a webinar we just released on how to effectively cold email CXOs. So this is a great piece of content in tandem with the cold emailing ebook that we just launched. So it's a great sort of secondary offer to get people still thinking about your brand and some of the content and thought leadership that you put out there. And then the bit I mentioned about tell a story. So I think it's best when you're talking with someone who doesn't know too much about your brand other than the content you put out there. Maybe they don't know much about your product. But what you want to have is a relevant story queued up that sort of helps them understand what other companies in the space are accomplishing. And in this case, we use a story that we had with Captora in the marketing automation space and how they were able to source 5.5 million in new pipeline. So this was all through cold emailing and getting the insight from cold emails to reach out. So this is something that is relevant to our prospect, and it's something that we use in our follow-up email. And then last but not least, you got to have a close in there to let them know what you'd like the next step to be. So in this case, it's rather soft. Just let me know what day or time works, and I'll send over an invite. I actually like not asking a yes or no question. So for example, are you free next Thursday at 2? That's something that it's really easy to say no to, and something that we started adopting is more of a soft close that doesn't have a yes or no question. And we've seen that that actually converts a great deal higher than if you just do a yes or no question. Great. So just to recap really quick, you've got two flows once a lead comes in. You've got your automated flow and you've got your manual flow. Your automated flow should be kept for lower lead scores. Your automated flow should be kept for every lead that comes in, but it should be automated only for your lower lead scores. So lead scores that don't quite hit that threshold, you want to do mostly marketing automation on these guys, bubble them up to a higher lead score, and then have it be manually reached out to. For the leads that come in that are very qualified and are pretty close to converting, you want to go with the manual approach. So again, you're going to send that instant thank you email, but in this case, you're going to pass to the inbound SDR, and he's going to send a personalized outreach email or a qual call. So again, these two flows should work in tandem, and the idea is that they should complement each other. So like I said, marketing automated emails, try and capitalize it, try and add some pictures, make it very clear that it's a marketing email. Manual emails, maybe an uncapitalized title, try and tell a story, make it clear that it's personalized, and work it that way. So I hope this was helpful. Again, if you have any questions, I'm here for the next 20-30 minutes to answer them, and I'd love to hear from you guys. So with that, I'll turn it back over to McKay.
Great. Thank you so much, Sam. That was awesome. Really, really good stuff. So you covered a lot of stuff, and we're getting a lot of questions coming in. One of the main questions we're seeing is, what would you say is the biggest mistake companies make when they start down this process to try to nurture? And they get these leads, they can't convert themselves. What's the number one reason why? Have you been able to crystallize that as you guys look at your data? What's the number one mistake people are making?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think there's a lot of content out there, and that is around sort of the expectation that content leads are very slow converters. And I think if people have that expectation going in, that these guys are going to take 6 to 9 months, so let's not try to convert them before they're ready. And I think the mistake that people make is that it's not necessarily about having that 6 to 9 month life cycle. That might be true for some leads, but for others it's not. Others, they may just not know what you do, or they may be looking for sort of like a personalized touch that helps put them over the edge. So in that case, I think people tend to rely too much on automation, even in content, because they're not sure that leads are ready to be followed up with. But I think that the best conversion is going to be taking that leap and being confident in the fact that you have a strong product, and the people that are downloading your content are going to see that if you apply a personal touch and you approach the right leads.
Good. That's a great point. Do you think most people, most companies, most marketers are too aggressive with the leads they get in, or not aggressive enough? Because I've been accused of both, right? I mean, somebody downloads a white paper, we call them, and people say, well, hey, we're not ready to be called. We just downloaded a white paper. But then I've also been accused of, if someone downloads a white paper, if they just get a random email from you every once in a while, that's certainly not very aggressive and probably isn't that useful. What's your take on the aggressive scale? Where do you like to fall on that scale, and what are the cautions on either extreme?
Yeah, sure. So I think, again, it kind of boils down to knowing who to reach out to. But I'd say calling when someone downloads a white paper is a little tough. I think, with this flow that I was mentioning and injecting sort of like a manual follow-up, I think that this is something that you don't want to do directly after someone downloads a white paper. You want to give them time to interact with your content, feel around maybe like previous webinars, look around the blog, and then maybe 3 or 4 days later, you want to come in with an email that is well researched. So that's the key. Is sending out an email that's personal. It just says, hey, I noticed you downloaded our white paper. We have a lot of great products for you. Like, when is a good time to talk? That's something that people aren't going to respond to. But if you take the time and you treat these almost like outbound leads, So in the case that, so think about like the typical prospecting flow you would do, looking at their LinkedIn, maybe Google searching them, looking at what they're tweeting about, and all that stuff. So that's kind of the key reason for having that inbound sales development rep, is treating these content downloads like outbound leads and applying that personal touch as much as possible. So I think if you stick to that and you're not too aggressive with your follow-up, but you are personalized and you're applying a human touch, I think you'll be good to go.
Great point. In terms of the type of process or information that Datanyze provides, why don't you get into that a little bit? Tell the audience what Datanyze does, how it integrates maybe with their marketing automation system that they have, or how do people use your tool, and who is your typical customer?
Sure. Yeah. So most Datanyze users tend to be on the sales side, but what we've found is that there's a really great marketing use case. So let me pop open another window here. So if you haven't already, a really great way to get a taste for what we do is to download our free Chrome extension. We also have it for Firefox, if anybody's on Firefox. But it helps you do a few things, and it kind of gives you a sample into what Datanyze is all about. So it'll help you identify the technology stack behind any website. So for example, if I'm to go to VentureBeat right now, and hopefully my internet works. There we go. I'm clicking on, in this case, the Datanyze plugin, and it'll tell me all the technologies that VentureBeat is using, which is a great piece of intel. So let's, for example, maybe you're reaching out to the director of marketing at VentureBeat. You're going to want to know that, okay, they're using Google Analytics. It looks like they're using, let's see, LinkedIn display ads. So it looks like they're doing some pretty intense targeting. Looks like they've got LiveRamp, which means they're definitely doing a lot of sort of like cookie matching and data onboarding. So it's a great tool for that. And it also, in one click, allows you to go to their LinkedIn profile. And with another piece, it allows you to, on this end, on LinkedIn, it allows you to export contacts to Salesforce or to a Datanyze list one by one or in batch. And while you're doing that, it'll also find their email addresses for you. So it's a great sales prospecting tool, and it's also a great intelligence tool for those looking to, gather some intel on prospects before they reach out. And then just quickly on the marketing side, the biggest use case is we have a predictive lead scoring engine that uses all of this great technology data. So for example, what we could do is we could analyze your Salesforce or your marketing automation platform, Marketo, HubSpot, Eloqua, and we could combine the historical data with the data that we collect on technologies, revenue, employee count, and then we could suggest the best leads in your Salesforce for you based on these predictive scores. So it's a really great tool for knowing which of your current leads are most likely to convert. And then on the lead scoring side, as soon as a lead comes in, we can assign a score based on those same parameters. So again, the technologies, the firmographic stuff, revenue, employee count, and things like that. So I hope that explains it. I didn't actually prepare a slide on Datanyze just because I don't like to incorporate a harsh sales pitch into presentations. But if you want to check it out, it's datanyze.com, and we'd love to talk.
Great. That was a very well done sales pitch, but not sales pitch. I thought that was well done, Sam. Well done. Okay. We have somebody asking about the cost of the Chrome tool. I believe you said it was free, right?
Yeah, it's free.
Great. And then just one more question for you. So in terms of the flow for nurturing, do you guys subscribe to the more progressive, more in-depth invitations as you nurture someone? So, they download a white paper to start with, and then you offer them something else of value and something else of value that is progressively more and more, takes more and more information for them to access. Is that your sort of overall philosophy? I mean, it's kind of what you described a little bit during your presentation and led to, but describe your overall philosophy there for nurturing and moving people down the funnel, if you would.
Sure, yeah. So you mentioned progressive profiling. I think that's a great tactic if you have sort of secondary questions that you want to ask to your prospects. We actually we kind of eat our own dog food on this, and we append a lot of that data already. So one thing that, for example, a lot of people will ask, like, how many employees are at your company, or what is your current CRM or marketing automation platform? We actually don't need to ask that because we append our own data on technologies and employees to that. But if you have sort of like very personalized questions that are very very big indicators for you that wouldn't be sort of typical firmographic data, so things like how many people do you have on your sales team, what solutions are you interested in, things like that, I would definitely say as you move them down the funnel and ask them for different, and they subscribe to different types of content, it's a great idea to append those to your forms and ask that way. Just make sure that you auto-populate the information that they've already provided you so that they don't have to fill out a long form again.
Yeah, I agree. You certainly don't want to double ask for the same information. That's silly and shows sort of a lack of sophistication on your end of the marketing world. So, yeah, agreed. Well, good stuff. Anybody, if there's any final questions before we conclude, we'll take those. If not, we'll conclude. Now, two things to note. The recording of this webinar is going to be posted on our website on conversa.com. Just go to Resources at the top, and you'll see webinars. I'll get that recording up later today. And then you'll also receive an email from us that has a recording attached to it as well. So any final thoughts from you, Sam, before we close up shop today?
Nope, all good. Thanks, everybody, for coming. And, again, it was awesome. Thanks for your questions. And look forward to interacting in the future.
Awesome. Sam, thank you very much, man. We really appreciate it. We know how busy you guys are. And, again, I'll endorse Datanyze. We've had good success. We just started using the tool and using it with our Marketo platform. And so far, the success we've seen has been really good. So congrats to your team on a great tool. And then also, Sam, good job on a webinar as well. So thanks again, everybody. Have a wonderful day. And hope to see you again on another webinar soon. Bye-bye.